A very good evening and a warm welcome to all of you to the Singhania School YouTube live channel, a channel of the Sulonians, for the Sulonians and by the Sulonians. Friends, today marks the beginning of the India Week that is being celebrated in Singhania School. Starting with today's session, on behalf of Director and Principal Mrs. Revati Srinivasan, it is a great pleasure and honor to introduce our today's guest. It's my privilege to welcome Commander Abhishek Kankan, who will enlighten us on the Everest Expedition. Commander Abhishek Kankan, a Gallantry Award winner, is an alumni of IIM Indore, DSSC Wellington, and Naval College of Engineering and RIMC Dehradun. He is a mechanical engineer with masters in defense and strategy and MDBA. Commander Abhishek Kankan has 5 years experience in corporate, and prior to that, a 21-year of dynamic career in Indian Navy. Commander Kankan has operated as a Marine Commando in Kashmir Valley in anti-terrorist operations, is a submariner, a scuba diver, a paratrooper, and has done the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. To top it, he summited Mount Everest in 2004, creating a number of world records. Commander Abhishek was awarded the Nausena Medal Gallantry by then President of India Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam in 2005. He is also a recipient of Chief of Naval Staff and Commander-in-Chief commendations on 3 occasions for gallantry, innovations, and leadership. He is a TEDx speaker and conducted corporate training and leadership workshops. Please join me in welcoming Commander Kankan to this platform. Over to you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Dhruva, for the introduction. Thanks a lot for all the warm words and reminding me of various things which I've done in life. So today I'm going to be sharing my experience primarily about my expedition to Mount Everest, which was actually an experience of many lifetimes. I'm going to take support of a PowerPoint presentation because they say that a picture says 1,000 words. So you're going to get even a few videos. So let me start. And also I would like to thank Singhania School for inviting me in this week celebrations for the great day which is coming on 15th. And I was going through the Singhania School's website and the mission, the vision, and the aim. I found them very apt, and I'm very impressed with this. I have more connections with Singhania because my wife and my 2 children go to Singhania School in different, capacities. So I'm really privileged to be speaking to all the students and parents. Yes, as the last line which I've highlighted is wings to fly and take pride in their roots. So I hope I'm able to give some more air to the wings so that our students soar even higher. Well, my journey has already been covered nicely by Dhruva. So moving from my school to ships, submarines, Marcos, and then coming out and generally trying to motivate people. So today I will not be sharing my experience about Marcos, Marine Commandos, or of submarines. I will straightway move to the Everest Expedition. Well, the name of the expedition was Sagar se Sagar Matha. You might be wondering, what does it mean? Sagar is the sea. Sagar Matha, not many people know. It is the name which Tibetans used to call Everest from times immemorial. So that's the name. And on the Tibetan side, it used to be called Chumalungma. And ours was a very, very apt, unique expedition because we decided to start from the board of dolphins, being from the Indian Navy, being from the waters, to the highest point on earth, so the land of Yeti. Unfortunately, I didn't meet one, or maybe that was fortunate that I didn't meet one. So it's a journey, and initially I also didn't know where is Everest. We were posted on board ships, submarines, and I volunteered for this for the expedition, and of course many things which went into it. And I never knew. We used to be practicing in Delhi, and I used to think that Everest is in the north. Only later did I realize that it's almost, at the same latitude as Delhi. But yeah, very cold and very different. So as it was a vision of our naval chief that time, Admiral Madhavendra Singh, who decided as one of his checklist on becoming the chief of naval staff, that he wanted that the naval personnel should put the national flag and the naval ensign on top of the world. So towards that, people were sent on basic mountaineering courses. We were sent for winter training at Siachen, the highest battlefield, expeditions to Mount Sveitala, Kamet, Sasir Kangri. Actually, that um, Everest, a normal person generally attempts after 10 to 15 years of mountaineering. However, we had a deadline, a timeline, and we had to meet it, being his vision. I think it is apt for you to have a glimpse at what activities are done at HMI Darjeeling, where I did my basic course. So let me share a video with you. Just a caution before that, my videos are certainly not good examples of videography, so please don't mind it. They're very candid. The one in the brown is me. What you see is me training for climbing vertical rope with the help of a Jumar, which comes very handy.
And slowly turn around.
They did the movie here.
What
Thank you, this,
Yeah, yeah.
do they have it at HMI?
Last year, yeah, the completely that stroke, this basic
Done.
course,
Let's see, done.
Left side. Side. छोटा स्टूल लो हाँ अभी हाँ ये नेक्स्ट पैर को लगाओ हाँ now jump. Oh, you're gonna go again? Now jump. Just bring hand loose. Jump. You said the good. Bring hand to loose रखो आप. Jump. Okay. हाँ ये. It's kind of weird. Good. हाँ yeah. Jump. हाँ yeah.
Follow!
Push on. Run around.
I like to. In India, there are various mountaineering institutes which are there, like HMI Darjeeling, and at Uttarkashi, there are 7 mountaineering institutes, and people from all over the world come to India, Nepal to experience the Himalayas, because such high mountains are nowhere. So do encourage your children to go and do these courses. They are highly subsidized by the government of India. For a 28-day basic course, the amount you have to shell out is hardly 10 to 14,000, in which they provide you boarding, lodging, clothes, training, everything, and a certificate at end of it. So we have Himalayas on a, just like in a backyard. You should not lose this opportunity. Of course, don't do it before your 12th and your 10th, and probably 11th too. Well, see, there are a few people who go for a try for Everest expedition every year. The Navy wanted to make the climb unique. Now, children, we do a lot of things. We see on television also, like, the people advertising things and trying to say how they are better than the others. So Navy also wanted to put a niche there, how do we make it unique? And of course, we were all very immature mountaineers, if I may say, because we were serving on board ships and submarines, where you are even restricted to do your physical fitness. So we couldn't be possibly doing the fastest or the hardest route, but certainly we had resources. Every expedition would probably start from the ground level, from where you are flagged off. So Navy, with its resources, we decided that we are going to get ourselves flagged off from below the sea, from a submarine. So it's very important for us children, if you're doing your projects or you're doing some presentation or pursuing a hobby or playing games, you got to be innovative so that you can really create a niche for yourself, and it's going to help you later on in life. So here we were flagged off by then Defense Minister Mr. Fernandez from a submarine 50 meters below, somewhere in the Arabian Sea. That's a photograph with the submarine on top, with a naval ensign and the Tiranga. From there, we made our way to Kathmandu, seeking the divine intervention. You're going against the nature, so you need all the blessings. This was the first place. This is called the Friendship Bridge, from where we entered from Nepal into the Tibet side. So you can climb Everest either from the Nepal side, that is the southern side, or the northern side, that is from Tibet. And the northern side is considered more difficult. So we decided to go in exactly for the more difficult part. And the moment you cross that bridge and go across, it's a desert. And then you realize that you're so lucky to be born in India, south side of the Himalayas. We are really blessed, I must tell you. There are some of the Tibetans there whom we met. Of course, here, we are trying to ensure that we can have something with the chopstick. Once we reached the Rombok Monastery, that was the first time we got the actual glimpse of Everest. It was exciting, plus also it was a bit intimidating. We had been practicing for a couple of years, and this was the first time now we could see that where we ultimately need to go. Will it happen or not happen? That time shall tell. So there was a base camp at 5,200 meters, and it requires a lot of planning, and you have to carry everything. If you forget your rope or your jummer or your oxygen bottle or food, you can't just requisition DHL or some other courier company that please send it. No, you got to live without it then. And then your ropes, you got to account how you're going to be taking them. There's a lot of planning, just like any other activity, but here, you don't have backups. And as we were at the base camp and getting along, getting our things in order, deciding how to go about it, we had this, if I may say, our principal ma'am or our teacher peeping from top all the time, saying, "Are you really ready for us?" For me, actually. So that's how every morning we used to get up and see. We could, from the north, Everest can be seen from the base camp, and it's a sight. Again, as I told you, it could be intimidating or it could be inspiring too. And on the base camp, as we are going about our daily chores, this was the route which we were going to take. It's called a Northeast Ridge. So those are the last two camps we're supposed to do. So as we were going about in the base camp, we saw these plaques, in memory of George and Mallory and so many plaques. And suddenly you feel, why have I come here? Do I really need to do this? I'm in the Navy. I am serving well. I am on board submarines. I'm serving the country. Everything is in order. Why do I need to volunteer for this? These death phobia comes in. But then we talk to ourselves and say, if there is no risk, there is no return. We got to stand up to it. We got to take this challenge and move on. Victory or defeat, we'll see later. And nothing should stop us. So these were, we were crazy 14 of us. Well, it would be difficult to recognize me. So, and also we all look so handsome and what do you call, we look so handsome because this is towards the end of the expedition, and our faces have been battered and swollen because of the cold and the harsh winds. And we realized at the base camp that nobody comes there. We call ourselves the most intelligent beings, the enlightened ones, but we only saw these mountain goats, ones coming there. There were no insects, there were no plants, and we were there and we were venturing and trying to go even up. It always crossed our mind: Are we really crazy, or are we doing the right thing? Are we going to leave that plaque behind, or are we going to come back and be there to tell the story? So it all happens in the mind, and you got to keep yourself motivated. So now was the time for the real climb to begin. And yes, there was something which I wrote in my diary. Anything you want to do comes with a price. And if you're ready to pay, you will be happy and satisfied. So during these times, you got to motivate yourself. And I sincerely believe in this. We were going for something, and anything could go wrong, including we could lose our lives. We were not ready to lose our lives. We were going to fight it out. But yes, that was one of the prize which we probably need to be ready to pay. And so again, before we started our acclimatization, we had a puja, so that all the blessings are with us, and the long journey of acclimatization began. See, we are not born to go to such heights. Our body is not fit to go there, but our body is again the best machine. We can acclimatize it to whichever situation we want. We can go underwater, we can go up in the sky, we can climb mountains. That's, but we got to, subject it in a proper manner. So acclimatization is a process in which, one, uh, as a normal thumb rule, I'll say you climb 500 meters, stay there for 1 hour, come down. Next day you climb the same 500 meters, stay there for 2 to 3 hours, then come down. And third day you climb that 500 meters and stay there for 3 days, and then venture ahead. Things like hypoxia, loss of appetite, pulmonary, this HACO, your ventilation increases, that is pulmonary ventilation, uh, your blood pressure goes up. So there are a lot of things which happen to our body. So we need to adapt our body to it. So that's why the acclimatization is important. And also this acclimatization helps us to take our equipment up. If you're making 3 trips, you can take your tents, your oxygen bottles, your ropes, your food. But yeah, you certainly do feel cheated that I came to climb 8848 and now I'm going to be climbing sort of 8848 into 4. So, but then that's it. Yes, these nice creatures are our best friend because they carry a lot of load for us. That's a yak. That's a trail of yak. But unfortunately, even these beings, they don't go further than the advanced base camp. So ultimately, we have to carry our uh, own burdens as in life. So this is an intermediate camp. See, because of the wind, this is a glacier, and it has got battered, and it's, to being a navy person, to me it used to look like sails of the boat, but for different people it looks different. There was a frozen lake there, and we decided let's walk on it, uh, having some fun in that sweat and blood. So we struck a pose, and thank God we didn't go down and we could move ahead. So this was the advanced base camp, almost the last place where the climb had been gradual, and it was, we got to be cautious of our handsomeness. But no, this is, the sun radiations are so harsh that you got to apply the best, SPF 50 and sunscreen lotion and moisturizer. Otherwise, you can have things like skin cancer. Although the skin really peels off like in a snake skin, ultimately in the expedition. What I'm showing you is the North Pole. You may not be able to appreciate it in this photo, but it is vertical 2.5 kilometers. And from the red flag which you see, it's another 3 kilometers of walk, and then the steep climb starts. What I've shown you, the red dots, I have made them because this is the place where you have to rope up and you have to climb. Now, not even as a team one can actually negotiate this. So all the teams and the Sherpas are there with us. Hats off to them. They are great buddies and a great support. Although they can't physically support you, but they are great buddies. And so we all get together, all the teams which have reached the advanced base camp, and we decide who's going to tie the rope from where, who's going to open the rope, who knows where are the crevasses. So it's not only not individually, it is not possible. Uh, as a team also know, it's a combined effect of many teams. So you see this photograph. In this you can see such dotted people at the bottom, and this is taken from halfway. So lone heroism is something which I believe you should have individual brilliance, but you have to be a team player. Once you negotiate this, we reach the advance, we reach the camp 1. which is at the North Pole. And as you go up, the area becomes small and smaller for one to be able to camp. Oh, who's that? And as you go up, you're wearing more and more layers of clothes. So suddenly you realize that I came to climb, but there are too many people climbing with me. Let me show you a video which will give you a more realistic picture.
The other team moving towards North Pole for the final summit.
आ गया?
हाँ आ गया। आज कहाँ जा रहे हैं सर?
कैंप 2 जा रहे हैं।
कैंप 2 सर?
उसके बाद कल समिट की कोशिश करेंगे परसों।
ओके।
So that was a climb from our advanced base camp up the North Pole, and this is, as you go up, it gets thinner and thinner, the lesser place for a person to walk. And of course, one thing I must tell you, all the photographs are of relatively good times than where we were really in the great danger. So as I told you, we were acclimatizing, in which we are supposed to do that 500-meter cycle. We are supposed to climb up to 8,200 meters. And then after we have acclimatized, we are supposed to come back to the base camp. You think that, oh God, only 600 meters more to climb, why come back? But no, your body really gives up. And as I was doing that last phase of my acclimatization, there was a whiteout condition. I've shown this photograph so that you see something, otherwise it could be a blank slide. And there were winds, the weather was packing up. I couldn't actually reach 8,200 meters, and my fingers were paining. I was finding it very difficult. I was trying to make it. I could make it another 200 meters, but still I had reached only 8,000 meters. And this time I was reminded of the frostbite which I had suffered during my Mt expedition. And so what you see, my right hand ring finger, it is almost mummified because of the cold burn. And because of my stupidity in Diwali, I had a hot burn in my left hand. So, I had a cold burn on my right hand and a hot burn in my left hand, and a dream to climb Everest in 6 months' time. Well, I was reminded of that time, and somehow I had made it with the help of doctors and the Navy giving me the best treatment. But again, I felt that same thing, that pain again of the frostbite and chilblains came to me. And I was standing there and trying to climb, panting with my Sherpa, whether to go ahead or not to go ahead. And that's a difficult decision because the selection is going to be taking place based on our performance. So I decided not to go ahead because I had almost completed 90% of my acclimatization, and the main aim was Everest. And this was a milestone. So I thought I should not have a relapse of frostbite. Otherwise, I will not be ready for the final mission. So it's very important for us in life to know what our actual goal is. And there are milestones to it. But yeah, we should ensure that we achieve our milestones so as not to endanger the ultimate aim for which we are doing. Luckily, I came back to the base camp. However, I was very cut up with myself that why didn't I acclimatize fully, and how am I going to, whether I'm going to be selected in the team or not. So all those thoughts were there, and I was feeling very low. This is a photograph of our base camp. We were very proud to display our national flag there, and I can tell you that we really were a great host to the people who came there. We had good medical supplies with us, and we were ready to share. Anyway, coming back to my mind, I must share I was very down. My morale was very low, and so some as it happens to us many a time. So some solutions from my side: that enjoy the present, suggest that what is happening now, not be too worried about the future, and don't carry your things from the past. some amount of attachment and detachment. Like once we are climbing, our body is paining, every pore of the body is trying to tell you, what are you subjecting me to? You're panting and you're having your ankle pain. So you have to stop thinking about your body. You have to divert your mind. Yes, keep focused on the path. But yeah, moment you start thinking about your back, it will tell you, oh God, I'm paining, please go back. So you have to detach. And one way I found myself doing was, I love, what do you call, pani puri and aloo tikki. So I used to take my mind to Delhi, to the telas there, and that used to keep me going. But yeah, you can't lose focus. You got to be taking your path safely and correctly. Inaction is, sometimes we are low and we don't do anything about it, and then we feel bad about it. We should certainly try to do. So once you do something, whether it helps or not, it does help you to get your mind in a better. Yeah, we live for ourselves, and uh, you know uh, we have to care for others. So that's how it should be. And life is not simple maths that, yeah, you put in effort and you'll get the result. It generally doesn't happen like that, uh, except for, yes, most of it, highest probabilities in exams that if you have studied for it, you will get good marks. But yeah, but ultimately you do get results for your hard work. And yes, how you look at life, glass is half empty or half full, or you can say it is filled half with water and half with air. So that's one should look life as. So next, let's move on to my diary, what I wrote in my diary that day. Uh, let no success guarantees happiness. So let no failure take away your happiness. There's just one source of happiness, you yourself, but keep trying. So these are some of the other people who suffered frostbite, and these are some of the uh, tourists who came there and they had breathing problems. So we provided them with oxygen cylinders uh, so that they could get well. So we actually created a great name for a country by helping people of all nationalities. So some people who suffer from snow blindness. So our doctor, is a great resource, and he is. We had a very good doctor, Surgeon Commander Anand P. Anand. He not only looked after medically, but he used to address our mental issues, our emotional issues, and in return, we used to make a lot of fun of him. So let me show you a video of me making fun of him. Yeah, here's Dr. Anand trying to summit on the yak. Once again. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So थोड़ा So whatever be the conditions, harsh and sad and gloomy, but don't leave the humor. But yeah, the person if you're cracking a joke on someone, that person should be sporting, and our doctor certainly was very sporting. So after acclimatization, the team was decided, and there was time for the final climb. We had recuperated for around 15 days. We were waiting for a weather window. Everest can't be climbed at any time of the year. It is, you'll only hear in the month of May that people will be climbing Everest. Other time of the year, or maybe sometimes in September. So ultimately, 6 of us were selected out of 13 of us who were going to climb, and we are divided into 2 teams to keep redundancy, because if something goes wrong with one of the teams, the other team is there, and things can really go wrong there. So we are divided into 2 teams who are going to attempt on 18th and 19th. And this time, there's no need for acclimatization. We just went all the camps, just climbing up. Here you see, we used to take proper safety. We are tied to the rope wherever it was very steep. The route we had already opened. What you see in this is a canister in the hand. See, air is so less, you can't really light a fire normally. Normal petrol, diesel, LPG, it doesn't work there. So there's a special compound, butane burners are there, with which we cook our food. And here you see the two climbers, the three climbers, we are tied to each other so that if one slips, we can support the other one. It's very important. In armed forces, we value buddy system a lot, and I would suggest for everyone, whatever you do you do your sports, you do your hobbies, you do your fitness, probably self-study. I think it helps to do it with a buddy, one at least. This was a summit camp, and this is the photograph of the eve once we are going to climb. The final climb is done in the night. The reason being so that you are there on top in the morning and you have the whole day to come down, because that's the most difficult part. And the weather is generally good in the night and in the morning, and generally it packs up by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, the winds build up. So it would be, it's advisable to complete a climb before the weather packs up. So the final climb is actually done in the night, because you got to go and you got to come back too. This is how we climb in the night, and I was with my Sherpa, who had climbed Everest once earlier. So this was the second time he was climbing, and I was very confident. He was a good guy. So in the night, here you see, we are negotiating this. It's a symbolic photo. It's almost that, but it was much darker there. And we didn't know whether are we supposed to traverse further and then go up, or go up from here. And I asked my Sherpa that, which way are we supposed to go? And he tells me, I don't know. I said, why? You have climbed Everest earlier? He said, I had climbed from the south face. You can imagine my state. I saw death in, imminent. I was reminded of those, Amar Chitra Katha, Prahlad being thrown off the cliff, and I thought that's going to happen to me. And here the cliff is 3.5 kilometers, and even the dead body won't be found. And it also taught me a lesson. But luckily, we found the right path. So the lesson was that you got to be an efficient listener. That's a very important part of effective communication. Had I listened to his story, had I interacted with him more, I would have realized that, yeah, he's climbed from the other side, and I could have been more alert and not faced such a situation. And as we were going ahead, around 4 o'clock or so, I saw fire in front of me. The mountain was on fire. It was really mesmerizing. I think the best thing I've ever seen. It was actually the sun, morning sun rays, falling on the snow, which was getting blown off because of the wind. It was really a great sight, but I had to detach myself from that, focus on the path, because I had a mission in front of me to accomplish. And so we reached the first step. Here again, it's a very vertical climb, and we have to use that Jumar, which I had shown you in the video teachings at HMI Darjeeling. And this was another place where I was pulling myself up, and I fainted. Luckily, because of the Jumar, I didn't fall down, but I was hanging on this rope for quite some time till my Sherpa had crossed, until I heard his voice. And I realized that, I can't breathe. And I started my Kapal Bhati, hyperventilating myself, and somehow got some energy. And with his motivation and my residual strength and willpower, I was able to climb this. This is one of the places where a lot of climbers go back, because it's very difficult to do this vertical first step. So these are times, you get scared. The cowardice in you comes out. But then you got to step out of your comfort zone. You got to just put in your best and do it, overcome the fear. So here's my Sherpa, Nima Tenzing. He was my lifeline, my buddy. And then comes the second step, which is a bit easier than the first step. And the moment you cross this, you see, wow, Everest is there. I'm there. Unfortunately, you realize that it's at least 2 hours far away. This is almost on top. You see how narrow it is. And let me show you a video.
That's the North Pole.
और यही बोलता मेरे को 20 मीटर ही है वो 20 मीटर खत्म ही नहीं हुआ
This is North Pole. So many tents, so many expeditions. There, camera. That is one shot. And that's like the same package. हवा चल रही है और क्लाउड्स हैं बहुत सारे and there is no features visible. Yeah, I'm waiting for clouds to go. Red. Yeah. Outside.
At last,
Yes.
we had reached the top. Once some thoughts on top. First was that thank God it has come, because it has been a dream and a lot of support from everywhere. Then amongst all that sweat and everything paining, I remembered Sadhguru's words that enjoy the moment, and I actually felt as if the Sampoon Bharat Varsh was on top with me. And among all this pain, as I took out the national flag, a Tiranga, and the naval ensign, and saw it flutter there, I forgot about all my discomfort, my eyes watering, my back pain, not able to breathe. I was just so happy that see that Tiranga was on top of the world. Yes, after some time I realized that only 50% was over and we got to move back too. So we made a journey back and we had a press conference, and in that certainly I had said that that entire Bharat Varsh was on top with me out there. So we had achieved on 18th 3 climbers had climbed with Sherpas. On 19th me and our team leader Commander Satyabrata Dham had summited, and we did create a number of records. We are the first Navy and actually the only Navy in the world to have climbed Everest. We are the only submariners in the world to have climbed Everest. We're the first armed forces team from the North Face and also the first Indian doctor to have climbed Everest. So it was time for us to say goodbye and come back. And then we had a flagging ceremony where we were received by then Defense Minister, who went on to be the President of India. We were flagged in by him, and that's me. And then we called on President of India. I'm sure he needs no introduction, at Rashtrapati Bhavan. So ultimately 5 of us had summited, and it was time for us to come back and take on more challenges in life. So as I sum up, I'll just students, especially for you and also for parents and all, some takeaways. Have a vision like our admiral had. So we had this expedition. Education and concepts is very important. You got to learn, get fundamentals very clear in whichever activity and academics. We need to do impeccable planning, expect the unexpected, and yes, certainly out of the box thinking, like how we made it unique. Buddy system as in armed forces, very important. Battle versus war, like I said, you got to recognize the ultimate aim and the milestones. Have the courage, manage your mind well, keep it positive, have the resilience. Even if you have failures, you got to move ahead. Hard work, there's no substitute to hard work. Okay, and have pride in your school, pride in yourself, pride in your parents, pride in a country. Like in Forge, we have izzat, that you got to have. And the art of listening, don't learn it the harder way like me, and of course keep the humor alive. So that's it from my side. Time does not take time to pass, so act now, study hard, play hard. Jai Hind. Yes, I hope it was nice. If there are certain questions, I can take them. How did you feel when you received the Nausena Medal on Republic Day from the president? Oh, it was amazing. It was recognition of the things which we had achieved. It was actually a very difficult year because there were a lot of casualties and a lot of people who were known to us, especially from Korea and from few other countries who had lost their life. And more than that, yes, once we called on the president at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, uh, he was a very humble soul. Uh, and a good listener. He wanted to know our experience, and he did tell us to probably write a book about it. But yeah, I've not yet done it, so hope to do it in future. So it was a great feeling, a feeling probably of many lifetimes, an experience of many lifetimes. How did the idea of climbing Everest struck your mind? Okay. Uh, as I went to a school called Rashtriya Indian Military College at Dehradun, and the school used to send around 4 students every year to HMI Darjeeling in the vacation to do this course. So I was quite interested. I was an outdoor person. I was very fond of outdoors, and I wanted to go and do this course. But unfortunately, I was not that great in academics, and probably that was one of the reasons I didn't get selected. And it happened. If I had a dream, and it came through after 15 years. Okay, so don't lose hope, don't lose on your dreams. And I never thought of Everest. Frankly speaking, I never thought of it. I probably thought of doing a mountaineering course and do somewhat of trekking. Uh, it came my way. It's a blessing. It's a vision of Admiral Madhavinder Singh. Yes, I did volunteer and I did jump to the opportunity, and I put in everything. I was the best student at HMI Darjeeling, in spite of going from a submarine straightway for the course. As I told you, submarine has hardly any space and it's very constrained. So you can't really keep a physical fitness. What advice would you give to someone who wishes to take on mountaineering? Well, first thing, uh, you don't have to go far from your home itself. Please exercise every morning and evening. You should ensure that you pant for at least half an hour. Do whatever you want. You do skipping, you do jogging, you do treadmill uh, every day. Keep your fitness. And I must say, you know, COVID or lockdown or whatever, this is an opportunity. You don't have to travel to school. You can always, you have more time. So you start off with the fitness, then start going around, go for runs. Once you can step out a bit, uh, then go for these courses. As I told you, there are adventure courses which are for a week, uh, the- and there are 7 mountaineering institutes which are highly subsidized. In your vacations or so, plan to go there. Before that, get your fitness online, and once you do this course, adventure course, then the basic course, you can slowly. In fact, around Mumbai, there are so many nice trekking places. Go for them. We are actually blessed. At such a short distance, we have so many places to go and trek. Enjoy the nature, find yourself whether you have the aptitude or not, because hardcore mountaineering is real hard work. It is not pleasure, I'm telling you. It is that, but you have a mission in mind that, yeah, I want to put the national flag on top. So enjoy the trekking part of it. If you find yourself suited for it, go ahead and train at these institutes. How was the training like before the expedition? Oh, it was a whole gamut of things. In fact, the Navy provided us with wonderful training. One was at HMI Darjeeling. Then we had some professional trainers. We went for various expeditions. That was on-job training. We, in fact, all those who volunteered went for a yoga course. And the Kapal Bhati and Pranayam, it really saved my day on the first step, and also helped us keep our mind very stable. And then we have spinning exercises, uh, right from put a bag behind your, we always used to roam around with some 20 to 25 kgs on our back. normal walking or throughout the day, so that we get used to carrying weights on our back. So that's how you got to train. What are the qualifications one needs to be a submariner? To be a submariner, first of all, you have to join the Navy. And to join the Navy, uh, if you want to join the Navy as an officer, you should have done your engineering. That's a minimum qualification. But yes, you can also join after your 12th. Uh, you should have PCM marks. And then you got to qualify the NDA exam or the Naval Academy exam. So that's after 12th. Uh, as a sailor, if you want to join, the academic requirements are less. Uh, so so there are various ways you can join after 12th. You can join after your graduation, and one can go to the website join Navy indiannavy.com, and you will get various ways and means. But it's a wonderful service, I must say. Any more questions? Let me see. They're down. As you know, there are one of the first Indians to do water para jumps with US Navy SEALs. Well, I didn't say that in this. Probably you've been keeping a track of me. Yeah, that is true. We did exercise with the Navy SEALs, water para jumps. We are enhancing our capabilities. Marcos are, as of today, as trained and as professional as US Navy SEALs or any other special forces. And Marcos operates on land, on surface, in the air, and under the surface. So we are actually a four-dimensional force. Yeah, one question is that you climbed in 2003, actually 2004, which is the highest peak. How do you think the Everest climb was different, and which one was a better expedition? Mount Comet, sorry, okay, Mount Comet or Everest. See, Everest, because it is the highest, and compared to Comet, it was much more difficult because of the sheer altitude. Comet was my first expedition, so it was very close to me, but it also, I suffered frostbite. Actually, I suffered frostbite before the climb, before the final climb, but I just went ahead and climbed and came back. And I was evacuated by the Navy, and I got the best treatment. Of course, Everest, because you get international exposure, you get to see different teams from different countries, you see how they behave, and you actually realize one thing, that India is the best, and we Indians are the best because we care for everyone, like that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We actually have it. The kind of medical facilities we shared water in the expedition. During the expedition with people, water is a very great resource, which generally people don't want to share. So I found that we are much better human beings than many other country people. So certainly Everest was a much better experience, an experience of many lifetimes. Which is a more challenging part of expedition, the ascent or the descent? I would say the descent. The reason being, first of all, the descent comes after the ascent. So you have put in almost your full energy while ascending, and you are left with very less while descending. Second, you can have a feeling uh, of satisfaction. You have achieved a mission, and you tend to get into your comfort zone or a relaxed zone. So you could be careless during the descent. Thirdly, you go and climb any hill or any mountain sort of a thing. While climbing, you put in more energy, but you don't slip and all. But while coming down, you put in less energy, but there is a greater tendency to slip. So after, like, we started at around 10 in the night, I reached the summit at 8 in the morning, 8:10 to be precise. And I spent actually 45 minutes at the summit, which is not advisable. And then you're coming down. So you've been up full night. And by the time I really reached the camp, it was around 4 in the evening. And there were various places where we could have slipped. So certainly I would say descent is more dangerous, and I don't know the statistics, but there are a lot of people who lose their life while descending. What was the first thing you felt, your emotion, once you reached the top? As I said a bit earlier, thank God it has come. Like it looks, if you see a climber, you will feel, I don't know, you must have noticed in the video, it looks like an old man with a stick, with a stoop, bending forward and cuffing. And that's the way you climb. You have to tell yourself that this time I'm going to take 10 steps. And actually, we used to climb in a mind, count in a mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And if you don't count, after 3 or 4 steps, you will just stop and you are always panting as if you have done a 100 meters dash. That's your normal breathing. So, uh, you know, it and it's chilling cold outside, minus 30 degrees, 35 degrees, wind chill effect, and inside you're sweating. And you're sweating like nobody's business, and your body is screaming that what are you doing to me? So first thing on reaching is thank God it has come. And the aspirations, everybody, how happy, family, friends, navy, the nation, and that tiranga out there, the kind of satisfaction it gives. So that's the feeling once you reach on top. Was there any special diet you had to follow to keep your body fit for the Everest expedition? Yes, we did have a good diet. Diet is very important to build up your core strength along with our exercises. For the expedition, as I told you, it is difficult to cook at those heights. So you got to have food which can be cooked very easily. Again, the Indian Navy gave us the best facilities. They got us, the best high altitude food right from New Zealand and Australia. We had things like, I remember the name, honey chicken and high calorie paneer sort of a dish, and many things. And you can imagine, being an Indian, you really can't have honey chicken. I mean, chicken is supposed to be spicy or whatever. We don't have sweet food generally. It was very difficult. And even in high altitude, you have a loss of appetite. And our Sherpas, they were carrying something which I don't know how many of you may know. It's called sattu. Shampa is what they call it. It is basically a powder of chana and a lot of cereals and grains, and it is high energy. So I told my Sherpa that you can have all this fancy high altitude food. I'm going to feed on your what do you call the shampa, the sattu. And sattu you can have even dry. You can just mix it with warm water and have it. You can have it with milk. You can even mix some spices and have it like a khichdi. So that was a saving grace. Very quick. And we also got some specialized food which is used by the armed forces in the high altitude, which you just ready-made food, which we could just cook out there. So what we used to do is we used to take our vessel which we were carrying, grab into the snow, put that snow into our tumbler, and put it on that butane burner, and then I dip our food, and then have it. So that's how the diet was. You actually lose weight, your hair, your fingernails, they stop growing because your body is certainly not getting enough oxygen. You tend to have hallucinations too. So it's really, going against the nature. So you got to tread with caution. So places teach us life lessons. What did this one teach you, sir? Okay, what are life lessons? I think I shared with you as a takeaway. Take small steps. Don't forget your dreams. There will be enough noise, enough obstacles, enough people telling you can't do a thing. Uh, but if you have decided, you got to move ahead. But yes, Josh with Hosh. You should be wise enough to take the right decisions. What is right for you? Like all of you are at a tender age. We, as I told you that I wanted to go for that in my school for that HMI Darjeeling, but more important for me that time was to do well in my 12th so that I could qualify and join the Navy. So Josh with Hosh is one thing. If you tell me, you got to do. What abilities does one need to be a Marine Commando? Okay, that's a subject. It will take a lot of time. In simple ways, lot of passion, uh, the will to do. You should be very good in physicals. So as we say in the armed forces, that physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. So those are one basic three things, because you're going to be being taken till the extreme. You have to have the resilience. There are times once you will give up. You would say that's it. In fact, okay, I can just recount a small thing. We started as a course of 24 of us for the Marcos course, and nobody was thrown out by the authorities. And it's a 6 months course, but ultimately only 4 were the people who qualified to become Marine commandos. So what happened to these 20? They simply gave up. So you should not give up. That's very important. So that was another life lesson. I was certainly not the best in swimming or in shooting or in uh, jungle warfare or navigation or firing various weapons, but I just didn't give up. So I did qualify. Of course, you have to meet the grades. That is also important. So we could have the last question. Uh, we have seen in movies that there are some hallucinations at that height. Are these real? Had you experienced any? Okay, so 13th question, lucky for some, but we have to make a luck. Yes, it happens. And in fact, I also had it. I was climbing, and as I told you, my Sherpa was with me. He used to generally keep 2-3 steps behind me or go ahead, depending how we were there. So he was of a great support, because he could tell me that now is the time to probably rest, or now is we could have some water. So as we were climbing, mm, I saw one climber lying down on the side. There was sort of a place where there was some shed sort of a thing because of the rock profile. So I told my Sherpa, ki, who is this climber? What is happening to him? Can we help him? So my Sherpa didn't reply. So again, I told him that this was at the time of descent. So again, I told him, what should we do? Should we go ahead, or should we do this? And again, I didn't get a reply. So then I turned around and I saw that my Sherpa is nowhere around me. He was not there. And I was just having a feeling that he's there with me. And he was, in fact, a good 30 to 40 meters behind me. And many more cases, you feel, you tend to blank out also, like on my vertical climb, because that was because of lack of pure, so things you tend to pass out uh, for some time. So all these hallucinations do certainly happen at those heights, because I'm sure you must have learned that our brain consumes 25% of the oxygen which we breathe in, and here you are getting around 1/10 of the oxygen which you are supposed to get, because of less pressure. You are 8.8 kilometers above the ground, above the sea level. So the partial pressure of oxygen is very less. In spite of we breathing pure oxygen, the partial pressure is very less. So it's very less for the human body. So you tend to hallucinate. I think with that we can sum up all the questions.
Thank you, sir, for such an enlightening session. It was truly interesting to learn about our experience at the Mount Everest. I'm sure that through today's session, you have inspired many students like myself to explore this really exciting area of mountaineering. On that note, thank you once again, sir, for being on this platform, and it was truly an informative session in all. We at Singhania School have an event-filled week with a week-long celebration for all of you, known as the India Week. The India Box is the very first international activity of school, which is for the students from the KG to the Standard 9. This year, every class has taken up a different state and showcased different aspects of life, of the state. The work was then compiled and made into very short videos of 3 to 4 minutes. Starting from tomorrow, all these videos will be shown to the students in the assembly time. Simultaneously, the e-launch of these videos as well as the write-ups and the pics will be uploaded on the different handles. Even though this year we'll not be able to interact with the students, we will keep the tradition alive through the online platform. This week we'll see India unfold in a unique way in the Solonian way. Thank you once again, sir, for joining us on Singhania YouTube Live platform, which is a platform on the of the Solonians, by the Solonians, and for the Solonians. And before you log out of this platform, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so that you get notified every time we go live. Thank you and have a wonderful evening ahead.